going on? Welcome back to another video, Connor Guasti YouTube channel. We're talking about more exhaust stuff today. I'm gonna shut this off again. Here we go. Same intro as last video. I'm gonna shut that off because that's loud. We're in here working. It's not Rob Bailey screaming at us though this time. Who's screaming at us? I don't know who this is. But we are talking about the no clock class, the no clock event that they have at MDIR. So I am not getting rid of the fender exits. I'm still gonna run these the vast majority of the time. I am going to though run, if you notice, there's a full exhaust on this side. Check it out. Wait, I don't know if you can see it all. I was just guessing. Let's see. All right, first let's admire this ground clearance. Okay, ready? Oh, can't see, screen turned off. Okay, ground clearance central. Boom. Because this is, I made this totally custom, but there it is, check it out. Even got a hanger, did it right. But for the class, the exhaust has to go back behind the B pillar. So B pillar's here, and I went a skosh further, just so there could be no arguments. I don't want to. Last thing I want to deal with in a no clock or no clock classes, somebody yelling at me, telling me that I'm breaking the rules. So I'm gonna go a little bit further. Now I did do the easy side first. This side doesn't have a steering column in the way. That side, however, or steering shaft rather, there's a steering shaft in the way on that side. So the on-3 piping was like dented and smashed on both sides to clear the firewall or clear the block and the steering column. So we'll see if I can maybe, if I'm lucky enough to be able to whip something up that maybe on-3 couldn't figure it out or something. I don't know. Apparently though, you can still run the wastegates dumps. So I'm not going to change that at all. That's going to stay the same. It's still going to come out over there on the fender. We still have the supports are right there, so we should be good to go. But that's it. I wasn't sure if I was going to make a video on this, but what the hell, we're working on it, so I'll show you guys. Or I say we, I mean me. I'm out here working on it. Mary Kay came out and helped me. She was holding stuff while I was welding. Thanks for holding stuff. I appreciate you. You're an awesome wife. Happy first anniversary, by the way. We just had our first anniversary. So, well, I'm going to try to figure out how I'm gonna get this other side done. So I'll just do a couple of quick clips and show you guys what I'm working on. This is what I'm doing for y'all. I tried like 5 or 6 different ways trying to set up a good time lapse where you can see what I'm doing, but you can't because the hood's in the way from the nice light. So for no other reason than good lighting, I'm gonna just take the hood off. I was sitting here thinking to myself, don't drop the bolt, don't drop the nut in front of the camera, don't drop the nut in front of the camera. And then what do? Drop the nut in front of the camera. Nailed it! This is the struggle bus. Okay, so here's the issue now that is gonna, well, not an issue necessarily. It's just what's gonna make this side harder than the other side. So back of the turbo, right? Obviously got to bend that again. But what we have right here is the steering shaft. Makes it just a little bit more difficult. I'm gonna need to figure out how I'm gonna snake it, and I think the best way is gonna be in this gap over here. Obviously I'm not fitting any exhaust over here on the side. Sorry, I don't mean to talk to you guys like that. I'm just thinking out loud. So it's obviously gonna have to go right here. Now we're gonna have to just figure, excuse me. Did you guys see that dog walk underneath the car? We're just gonna have to figure it out, I guess. First is we're gonna get a V-band with a like a 20-degree pie cut to get it away from this, like, you know, just to get it kind of away from the strut tower. And that's gonna be kind of our starting point. So the first thing I'm gonna do is completely weld out a V-band with a pie cut, a 20-degree pie cut on it, and that should get us started. If you suck like me, make sure that you fully assemble both sides of the V-band, inside of the V-band, tighten them up so it's nice and plumb all the way around. That helps because I suck at controlling heat. So if you suck at welding, just like I do, make sure that you clamp the V-band together with the other side. That way it doesn't warp. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try my very best to get some of this pie cut stuffed inside of the V-band. It just kind of helps. And I'm not going to use any filler rod on this. I'm going to actually use the V-band as the filler rod. So I'm going to melt this outer edge right here into this pie cut. So I'm going to use the V-band as the filler. So see that like lip basically that's right here, the lip you can see is, I'm going to melt that into the pie cut. That way I don't have to use filler rod, because I also suck at adding filler rod. So maybe if you're lucky, one day you'll be at this level of horribleness. I mean, okay, so I've been practicing. I've got a lot to learn still for welding. But this is like kind of what I can expect by just kind of like, not rushing through it, but still not worried about it being perfect. This is about typical for me. This backside over here, it got a little thin and I blew a couple of holes in it, which is I had to add some filler rod, and you can tell the difference between me adding filler rod and me pulling the V-band material over. This is to me is just easier than just adding filler material. But I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing, man. To the point where it's about to get really difficult, and it's past midnight. So I'll show you where I'm at. Obviously that side's still done. But this is where we're at over here. It's getting close to that frame rail down there. It's like 1/8 of an inch clearance down there, and then I have to still do the steering column, the steering shaft right there against the block and against the exhaust manifold. And it is like at the very perfect angle, exactly 3 1/4 inches. So it's like it's gonna be testing my fabrication skills to the max. No wonder On3 just dented the pipe and said screw it. It's because it's 100% easier. The good news is I still have the On3 exhaust. That way, in case I can't figure it out, I can just throw that on there. So but that's gonna be it for today, and I'll catch you guys whenever I work on this next. All right, it's the next day, and I have it's the next day, and I have kind of like cut back a little bit of this. It was extended a little bit further. Essentially there's only like one spot right here where, see if I can get this in here one-handed. There. Okay, so essentially there's only enough room for exactly, like I said yesterday, 3 1/4 inches. So what I decided to do was I put a piece of the stainless exhaust that I'm going to use right balanced perfectly in there, and that's what I'm going to build off of. So I cut this back here to give me some more room, and I'm going to go from, I'm going to start from on top of this steering shaft, in between the block and the steering shaft, and I'm going to work my way from here and connect up to what I've already got, and then work my way down. So and how I'm doing that is with pie cuts. This is the piece that I started with right here, balanced over the top of the, you can see the steering shaft has scratched it a little bit already on that side, but so I started with this piece balanced, and then I started working pie cuts down, and I used painter's tape to tape them up and like mock them up that way I didn't have to like go back and forth. I could do 3 or 4 at a time, and then I pulled the painter's tape back and marked them, and then this is kind of the shape. It's kind of like a curvy S, so this is gonna sit on top of the steering, come like this on top of the steering shaft, and this is what's going back down the car past the transmission bell housing. So I'm working on that. I'll take you guys under there and show you exactly what it looks like. So here's the steering shaft right there, and here's the block and the steering shaft. As you can see, it's exactly, I mean, I'm not even holding that, and it's not secured, it's just perfectly balanced in there. So I'm starting from, like I said, this bigger piece right here, and I worked these 3 pie cuts on it to get it at least pointed the correct direction. I think from here I can probably do a straight for like 3 or 4 inches, and then start to curve it down the body where the factory exhaust went. So, well, it's the next day. What are you wearing? Wonder Woman? You got on Wonder Woman shorts. It's the next day, and well, it's actually, I don't remember if I filmed yesterday. I might have filmed a little bit. I did film a little bit yesterday. So I did portion of this down here, and then got really frustrated, and then decided that I was gonna stop and go to bed because it was midnight and I was getting mad that I couldn't clear the steering shaft. I think I've cleared the steering shaft now enough to where I'm still gonna be able to turn completely. Excuse me, hello, back inside. But, well, I think I'm done. I'm gonna get ready to start it here. I figured you guys didn't want to watch me just pie cut and suffer a bunch of stuff together, so it is done. There's tools under here still, but yep, looks like a factory exhaust without the X pipe, I mean, it's an exhaust. So the clearance is pretty good. You can't even see it. I mean, that side a little tiny bit you can, but the rest of it you can't see it hanging down. But I haven't had an exhaust on this car for probably like 4 or 5 years. Not that this is an exhaust. Well, it is an exhaust, but I haven't had like mufflers on it or long enough pipes to help quiet it down. So this will be interesting for sure. Test drive. I only foresee one issue so far. I forgot to adjust the driver's side pipe. So if we make it out of the driveway, I think we'll be fine, but we'll see. I think we're good. I caught like a hint of E85 and I couldn't figure out why it smelled so strong, and then I remembered that I am driving with the hood off just because I didn't want to put it back on yet. And it's fun to drive with the hood off. If you don't drive with the hood off every now and again. Totally weird. It doesn't sound right at all. This does not sound right. It's too like, sounds way too raspy. That was obnoxious, but that's how it sounds. Well, there you have it. Exhaust is on the car for the class. It's running. It sounds weird. I talked about it a little bit while we were driving, but the I never could really understand what people were talking about when they say like, yeah, just wait till the wastegates open up and then that thing will really scream. And I never really I was like, you can't even really tell the difference between what you're talking about, or between when the wastegates are open and closed. But that's because my wastegates have either always merged back with my exhaust or have exited in a dump in the exact same place as the rest of the exhaust. So you can't really tell the difference when the wastegates open. But now that the exhaust sound for the most part is all behind me, when the wastegates open, you can definitely hear the sound transfers from the feel stays in the back, but the sound transfers completely to the front. I talked about that a little bit while I was driving, but that's something that I had not experienced before, and it is definitely interesting. The wastegates, when they do open, you definitely do hear a lot more noise. But it went well. First drive went well. I'm having some issues again with this throttle body, and I wonder, Clinton Smith said, you know, like maybe because I just welded some hangers onto the car. Now I disconnected the battery disconnect switch, but I didn't actually disconnect both terminals of the battery. So maybe I'm thinking that might be why, because I replaced it with another factory throttle body the last time I was having the issue, and it solved the issue until I welded on the car again. The first time I had the issues, it was when I had welded the limiting chains on there, the tabs onto the body, and then right immediately after that is when I had those issues the first time with the throttle body, and then after I replaced it, it was fine at the track and it was fine driving it around until when I just welded those exhaust hangers on. So maybe the amperage going through the body of the car with, I don't know, with the throttle by wire stuff is wacky on these cars. I think. I have no idea. It could be something I'm doing wrong. Could be, who knows what it could be. But I do have another throttle body coming if I can't get this one sorted out. Hey, buddy, I'm doing a YouTube video here. Could you be quiet? Yeah, so if I can't get this one sorted out, then we'll figure out something at some point in time. Who knows? Everything else, though, is good with the car. The car ran great. I do have to adjust this. I told you guys I do have to adjust. I'm not sure if you guys can see, but I do have to adjust the driver's side exhaust. It's kind of cockeyed down a little bit. Just because the V-band is a little bit clocked wrong up front. So I'll clock that again and get that adjusted. That way it's not hanging lower. Not necessarily that it's important functionally, it just looks better, I think. But Clinton Smith, watch out, because I'm coming for being slower than you or something. I don't know. All those other guys in that 0 o'clock street class, you don't really have anything to worry about. But I'll at least be able to have some fun. And you never know what could happen. So maybe I could win, win 1 or 2 of those throughout the year. We'll see. Get entered to win if you haven't already. The last video, I'll link it as the next video for you to watch. But if you haven't already entered to win, make sure you go enter to win. I'm giving away 5 of those clocks. They're really awesome. But thanks for watching. Comment, like, subscribe, and we'll see you guys in the next video.